This potato salad is the perfect side dish for any occasion. It will go with nearly any meal and it tastes absolutely fantastic. And of course, it's easy to make. Let's get straight into it. Alright guys, starting out we're going to need 1 kilo of baby or new potatoes. These are a waxy potato and are perfect for salads like this. Season them to taste with salt. Take them over to the sink and then fill the pot with cold water just about 1 inch above the potatoes. Also using cold water will help these cook all at the same rate, and I know I did this differently in my roast potatoes recently, but that is a completely different recipe. Place them over a high heat and bring it to a boil, then reduce the heat to medium and then just simmer away for about 10 to 12 minutes or until you can insert a fork or a knife in the center but the potatoes aren't completely breaking apart. Let's then drain these off using a kitchen spider, or you can pour them through a sieve, that's completely up to you. I'm going to put them into a bowl or on a plate, preferably not stacking them on top of one another, this way they'll cool down a lot quicker. You can also just place these into the fridge and then let them cool down completely, but we need these to cool down a lot before we use them in the next step. Now in the meantime, we're going to need 200 grams of streaky or middle bacon. If you want to make this completely vegetarian, just skip this step completely. And we're going to slice this into thin strips, rotate at 90 degrees, and then dice into medium sized pieces, making sure they're preferably all the same size, that way they'll cook at the same rate. Now for the bacon, place a pan over medium-high heat. We're going to add the bacon in whilst the pan is still cold. This is going to get the best flavour out of the bacon and render the fat, getting us really nice and crispy pieces. We're going to mix this around, spread it out, and we're going to cook this for about 3 to 4 minutes, just until it's nice and crispy. The amount of time this does take is completely how you like your bacon. I like to cook it a little bit less because this will continue to crisp up even after we take it off the heat. But if you want this really dark, just cook it for a little bit longer. Once your bacon is done to your desired bacon doneness, I suppose that's a word now, we can then remove this from the heat and pour it into a bowl lined with kitchen cloth or a paper towel, and this is just going to drain off the excess fat. Alternatively, you can keep that fat and use it in other recipes in replacement for the oil, which will add fantastic flavour to anything you use it for, and then this can be popped aside. With our hot stuff now cooling down, we're going to need 1 shallot, or shallot, however you want to pronounce it. This can be sliced in half with the tip removed, leaving the root intact, and we're going to slice this and then dice this the same way we would with a regular onion. Make thin slices across, rotate at 90 degrees, and then slice into nice small pieces. You notice I didn't make a slice through the center, that's because this is a lot smaller and I don't mind about what it looks like. Next is 2 spring onions or scallions. These are completely optional, and I'm going to separate the green stem from the white root end, and we're going to slice these pretty much the exact same way, but I've separated them because I'm going to use them in 2 different parts of the recipe. You can either slice them straight on like what I'm doing in here, or you can slice them on an angle to create nice diamond or oval shaped pieces. Now for our sauce, this comes in 2 parts. This one's going to be a nice tangy oil blend. This is 30 grams of wholegrain mustard to a mixing bowl, along with 50 milliliters of white wine vinegar. Add in that shallot or shallot that we did before for a nice pop of freshness, along with 60 milliliters of extra virgin olive oil to bring this all together. Season to taste with sea salt flakes, and then hit this up with cracked black pepper, about 20 cracks worth. Let's then get in there with a fork or a whisk and just mix this all together, making sure to break it all up, check it for seasoning, and then we can pop this in the fridge until we're ready to serve. The next part to the sauce is really easy. This right here is 60 grams of mayonnaise. I usually make my own, but we only need a very small amount. We're then going to follow it up with 20 grams of horseradish cream, which is really easy to get. 40 grams of sour cream for that nice tangy punch. Hit it up with a little bit of acidity, which is 1/4 of a lemon just freshly squeezed. Season to taste with sea salt flakes, and then hit it up again with cracked black pepper, about 10 cracks worth. Just like the oil blend, this can then be given a good mix through just to make sure everything is evenly combined. Check it again for seasoning, and then once mixed and nice and smooth, this can also be placed in the fridge until you're ready to serve. Also, this whole recipe can be made a couple of days in advance, so you can have all of this ready to go and then just assemble it when you need it. Okay, so now that our potatoes are cold, they can still be a little bit warm, but you do preferably want them to be cold all the way through. You can even cut these into quarters, in half, however you want to do it. You can even leave them whole if you wanted to. Place the potatoes into a large mixing bowl and then add in all of that tangy mustard, vinegar and oil blend. This is going to add the perfect flavour to the potatoes before we then add in that mayonnaise mix, and these two together create the perfect blend of flavours. If you're using them, chuck in the white stem spring onion or scallion as well for a nice freshness, and then just mix this all around, getting everything coated in all of that sauce, trying your best not to break up any of the potatoes. You can also at this stage add in a little bit of that bacon. I like to save some for a garnish. It's up to you how you want to do it, and that bacon adds the perfect flavour. Like I said, if you're vegetarian, just don't use it. As always, serving up is completely optional. Put it all into the one bowl like what I'm doing here, or portion it out into different bowls and serve it to your guests or family, and this recipe right here serves 4 people. As for garnishes, top it with the remaining bacon. This adds a really nice, beautiful, savoury touch. And of course that green stem spring onion or scallion if you're using it. But with all of that done, we have then created the perfect potato salad. It's absolutely perfect on a summer's day. It's really hot in Australia at the moment, and you can even have it on a cold winter's night. It is the perfect side dish for any time of the year. Now, just before we get stuck in, I am going to hit this up with some cracked black pepper. Check that out of the way. And then, of course, the only thing left to do is we can then dig in. The flavours in this are so well balanced. It's a little bit sweet, salty, tangy, and acidic. And obviously you've got that really nice texture from the bacon. The potatoes aren't completely falling apart, so it's nice to have that little bit of a bite to them as well. And like I said in the video, you can cut these any way you want. I really do recommend you try this recipe. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. It really does help me out, and consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.